Welcome to the Cross Canada Spotlight. I'm Mike Arsenault. Every week we take a look at a handful of the most interesting and entertaining stories produced across the Global News Network. The climate conference COP26 took place this week in Glasgow, Scotland, and emerging from the discussions on how to best combat climate change were a number of very interesting ideas. One that struck me the most is converting the world's massive container ships to battery power. Is it possible? Take a look.
Measuring by volume, nearly 90% of world trade goods are moved on water. The International Council on Clean Transport says if international shipping was a country, it would be the 6th largest emitter of greenhouse gas emissions based on 2015 data.
I spent years building vessels and seeing around the world the impact that we have today with pollution.
Brent Perry is the CEO of Shift.
Power swap stations provide fresh energy within minutes.
The Canadian clean energy company won a contract to equip 20 vessels at the Port of Singapore with its pay-as-you-go power swap battery system. Think of the rechargeable battery you pop onto your power tools, but on a much larger scale. The project will ramp up to 1,600 vessels within the port's infrastructure.
Power swap, a practical solution to reduce the impact of climate change.
And by next year, Shift's Power Swap will also be used on boats in the UK to transfer workers to and from a wind farm.
We'll be charging them both on shore and using the wind generators themselves to charge the ships. So these guys will be able to go from being a heavy polluting element on a wind farm, which is a green energy producer, to now being a partner, if you want, in zero emission delivery of the whole entire ecosystem of the wind farm.
That holistic chain approach is gaining speed. Ahead of COP26, 9 major companies, including Amazon and IKEA, signed a pledge to only move cargo on ships using zero carbon fuels by 2040. But greening the entire industry may be as challenging as freeing a stuck ship in the Suez. A patchwork of electric and cleaner burning fuels is likely. The International Maritime Organization has set 2050 as its deadline for shipping companies to cut the amount of carbon dioxide emitted by vessels. World leaders meeting in Scotland, just steps away from the River Clyde and its rich shipbuilding history, are set to come up with a plan that will protect global waterways. Meanwhile, energy and technology companies such as Shift are also gathering, sharing best practices, and hoping to get the attention of those leaders. Crystal Gamanson, Global News, Glasgow.
It is that type of innovation and ingenuity that is needed to save our planet, all with a Canadian connection. Ideas are great, but it will take a massive amount of money and political will to affect real change. Let's hope it happens for the sake of our future generations, like my 13-month-old daughter. The planet is all we have, and it contains all types of natural beauty, like the Northern Lights. I've never seen them in person, but this next story might be the next best thing.
But I just wanted to wake everybody up and be like, do you know what you're missing right now?
Caroline Layton has been waiting for this moment.
And then they just appeared behind here. It was it was like a midnight rainbow. It was the most magical thing I've ever seen, and they were moving all around and dancing.
She moved to Edmonton in 2019 and has been trying to see the Aurora borealis ever since. Thursday, she got her chance. She received an Aurora alert, shot out of bed, and drove out of town to watch.
They were dancing, there were coyotes howling, you could hear cows munching. It was pitch black, there were a few other cars there. And I watched them in awe.
This is the second time in less than a month the Northern Lights put on an awe-inspiring show in the Edmonton area. Photographer Kyle Tremblay went out then and again last night.
We look up and it's astonishing. I'm shaking talking about it right now.
Oh my God.
He feels this time was even more incredible.
It was so quick and so fast. My camera couldn't even pick it up. So that's when I was like, get the phone out, record it, because it's just moving everywhere. I've never seen something like that ever in my entire life.
Aurora Watch is a passion project run by a team at the University of Alberta's Department of Physics.
Aurora Watch was developed to try and help people get to see the aurora. for no other reason than it is so great and so amazing and so beautiful that everybody has to try and see this at least once.
If you missed it, Kale says it's okay because the Aurora is on an 11-year solar cycle and we will be seeing more.
It's starting to become more active, so hopefully we should see more and more of these kind of events as time goes on, peaking somewhere in 2025.
For Leighton, it's still sinking in.
I don't know if it's the adrenaline, like I haven't had any coffee yet today. I'm pumped. Like people go to Iceland and spend thousands of dollars and don't see this.
And lucky for us, sometimes we can walk out our back doors and get a chance to see the lights dance. Sarah Comedina, Global News.
You know, I was expecting some incredible footage of the Aurora Borealis going into that story, and I was still blown away at just how amazing it was. I might have to book a trip to Western Canada, especially if we're starting to hit prime time in Northern Lights viewing at this point in the solar cycle. Sticking with the beauty of nature, a wildlife photographer from BC has received international recognition for his stunning photos in Canada's north, and I had the chance to speak to him about his work.
I won the Wildlife Photographer of the Year Rising Star Award.
And what went through your mind when you received that news that you were the winner?
It's called Cool Time.
It was kind of crazy. Like, I won in 2010, my category, 11 to 14 years. And I've been wanting to win the award ever since, because at that time I was competing with the young photographers. And this was my sort of first time with professionals. So it was very exciting to find out that, hey, you know, you won this prestigious award.
And where did these photos that won you the competition, where were they shot?
They were taken about 2 hours north of Churchill, Manitoba. It's a combination from Manitoba and Nunavut.
What was the most challenging part of that experience?
The environmental conditions of this landscape. I mean, you are in the Arctic. There's a lot, it's very unpredictable. The Arctic doesn't necessarily cooperate with you. And there are times when sort of everything doesn't go your way, you know, equipment starts to malfunction because of all the moisture and sea air.
What type of patience is required to be able to take the shots that you were able to capture?
It's not something where you sort of get up and just go and take these pictures. You sort of have to put in time in your mind and dream up new sort of images. And okay, like I want a sunrise, I have to position myself in exactly this location and hope that the animals cooperate with you. The polar bear underwater with the waves sort of washing about him. That shot was in the making since 2015. So for 6 years now that I've sort of dreamt up that shot and said, okay, I want to get this shot of a polar bear in the water.
What's a dream photo shoot that you have on your list that you want to accomplish next?
A dream of mine would be to do a photo shoot in Antarctica using drones to document the penguins and the Antarctic environment, as well as go back up north and document the stories there.
Are you able to sustain yourself full time as a photographer, or do you have another job that you use to be able to fund the shoots that you go on?
These trips are a combination of me working in the film industry, working for my sister who works in fashion. And so I sort of use that to fund these trips up north and to other parts of the world, spending usually about 6 months working here in Vancouver and 6 months traveling around capturing these stories. Right now, with the help of the Natural History Museum and this competition, I have been able to get a lot more viewership. Maybe in the next few years, I will be able to fully sustain myself as a wildlife photographer and filmmaker.
Your hard work and perseverance definitely paying off. Where can people find out more about your career?
For the most part, I do a lot of stuff on Instagram where I post all my pictures, stories, behind the scenes.
You're a busy guy. I'm glad you had the time to speak with me today. Thanks again, and just best of luck with the rest of your career.
Thanks so much, Mike. It was a pleasure to be here with you today.
Martin's an impressive guy. He's been putting the time and dedication into his craft, and the results are speaking for themselves. Can you imagine spending 6 years coming up with the concept, planning, and executing a plan for just one photo? It's amazing. Also in BC, a man is aiming to run 100 kilometers in just 15 hours in support of the Canadian Legion, appropriate with Remembrance Day next week. It sounds like a daunting, almost impossible task, but not for Sachin Lottie.
D-Day fast approaching. Sachin Lati on the brink of embarking on his greatest challenge.
I've hated it most of my life, actually.
Running even 5K, a struggle for Lati when he started training a year ago. The CBSA officer now ready for 100 kilometers, more than 2 marathons in under 15 hours.
100 kilometers is honestly nothing. It pales in comparison to the sacrifices they've made.
The Run to Remember, November 7th, will hit all the land border crossings from Chilliwack to YVR. Lati raising money for the Royal Canadian Legion BC Yukon Command. The GoFundMe goal, $10,000 for veterans' mental health.
I feel 100% connected to the mental health issue. Absolutely.
Connected because Lati has been in the trenches.
This year I was officially diagnosed with severe anxiety and depression. I kind of understand how some people might feel, especially if they've had some significant traumas.
When I heard what Sachin was doing, it just blew me away.
Chair of the BC Yukon Command Legion Foundation says the money will help provide crucial equipment, counseling, and service dogs for veterans suffering with PTSD.
With somebody like Sachin putting his money where his mouth is and his feet and whatnot, it's amazing. It is amazing. We can't thank him enough, and I encourage everybody to support Sachin. Let's all get behind him. It's a fantastic thing. Amazing man.
Lati motivated by a rich family history of service, dating back to his great-grandfather, who served in World War I under the British Indian Army. The proud dad says he feels obligated to use his body to fight for veterans who are struggling to survive.
They give me inspiration and they give me strength, and I'll most definitely be thinking about them on my run, for sure.
Ramina Daya, Global News, Vancouver.
I just checked Sachin's GoFundMe page, and he's already blown past his fundraising goal. He's over $14,000, and he's actually embarking on his run right now as we speak. Staying with the Remembrance Day theme, an incredible story of discarded war medals from the First and Second World Wars were found in a donation bin, and the detective work that led to the discovery of who the medals belonged to.
They get all kinds of things coming into this Goodwill donation center in Calgary.
Books, clothes, toys, electronics.
And then one day this past summer, Jonah Henderson comes across something really special.
I actually just found the medals, Canadian Forces on it. I'm huge into history, so I thought this kind of stuff is pretty important.
He turns it over to his managers, and the detective work begins.
We found the initials JT and last name Hearson with just 4 letters, Sask. We found an obituary of a John Thomas Hearson, that he was born in Nottingham, England, and then had immigrated over to Canada and had settled in Weyburn, Saskatchewan. We tracked down other names from within that obituary. We came across a grandson.
I didn't really know that he had the medals. So what a surprise for Kelly Hearson in Winnipeg.
It's absolutely wonderful. It's just an absolute honor to have them, and I am just so thankful to Alberta Goodwill for reaching out, for taking the time and making the effort to find me.
It was just fantastic, like to know we found a family member. It's a really heartwarming feeling.
Medals J.T. Hearson won for his service in both World Wars.
We will look after them, have them displayed prominently with the others that I have. I have medals from my father and also from 3 uncles. We are pretty blessed, and it was their sacrifices which got us where we are.
Jonah is also grateful for his family's service.
My great-grandfather, he fought in World War II. And I actually have all of his paperwork from World War II.
And he's glad to have played a part in getting these medals back where they belong.
Very, very satisfying. It's a joyful thing.
Gil Tucker, Global News.
What a cool story, and the passion from the employees wanting to find the man behind the medals was evident. And it's great to see that those medals are back with the family. And I hope everyone takes a moment on Thursday to remember the sacrifices of our veterans. That's it for the Cross Canada Spotlight this week. Be sure to watch Global News Weekend Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. on the Global TV app.